So one of my favorite things about the Usborne Books and More collection is that we write a lot of books and have a lot of books in our collection that help us to cope with real life issues and real life problems in a really sweet way. A lot of our books are designed to help parents just start conversations and just to kind of give kids models of how to cope with difficult things. So let me show you a few of what I'm talking about. Starting with some for our younger children. So we have books like Worry. Worry is definitely for younger, 3, even 4 years old. You know, a preschooler or even a little bit younger, but it's all about this blowfish who worries about everything. Little Peter the blowfish, and he would puff up in a big ball whenever he gets worried. And so throughout the book, you see Peter worrying about different things, but his friends are the ones that always help him to feel better. They're always giving him another point of view, another perspective, or just sort of a, hey, it's going to be all right. And I love that. I love that idea of helping our kids find a way to cope with worry. The idea that, one, they're not the only one that worries, but that their friends are going to be a big part of what helps them feel better. I think it also teaches a kid that doesn't struggle with worry to know how to be a good friend to someone who does. So this is a really sweet book. There's another book in this series called Different. Same concept as far as design goes, but it's all about a little animal that feels like he's not like everybody else and sort of celebrates that it's okay to be different. So those are great ones for little ones. In that same theme of worry, there's Jonathan James and the What If Monster. This is a book that's been in our collection for a long time and is a favorite, and it's still a favorite for me. It's all about poor little Jonathan James, who has this what if monster that seems to be following him around, so that every time he's about to try something new or do something, the what if monster pops up and starts to worry about if things going terribly wrong. What if you tumble? What if there's wind? What if you slip and your knee gets all skinned? When he's thinking about climbing a tree. And this goes on and on for everything, jumping into the pool, playing baseball. He's constantly worried. And then we get to this moment where he says, Jonathan speaks back to the what if monster and says, hey, wait a minute. What if things turn out right instead of turning out wrong? What if I climb to the top of that tree and I never slip or skin up my knee? And he goes through every scenario that they talked about, the bad what ifs, and gives all the good possibilities. And I love this book because it's all about changing perspective from thinking the worst to expecting the best. And isn't that a great concept to teach kids? So super sweet book, a great one to have on your shelf. I find it encouraging as an adult, so maybe I just need it for me too. Lights Out Leonard is great for a kid that's struggling with going to bed at night, that's scared of monsters. And my favorite part of Lights Out Leonard, he goes through the whole deal of saying no, no, no every time his mom and dad are trying to turn off the lights and send him to bed and they're really tired. But then we get to this great turning point in the book where he gets this book that left on his bed that's called How to Frighten Monsters. And in it, it gives him 5 steps of how to scare monsters. And this is where it's just really brilliant. Step 1 is minty breath, so brushing his teeth. A tidy room, so cleaning up his room. Getting his teddy bear, whatever his cuddles may be. Gentle music in the background. And of course, kisses from parents repel monsters as well. So getting all his goodnight kisses. This is really sweet, and it's really fun to read this to a kid and then watch them go through the routine that night as they go to bed. So that one I highly recommend if you've got one struggling with that. The Perfect Shelters, a really sweet book that's all about having someone in your home with a serious illness. In this book, there's 2 sisters. The older one gets very sick, and at the beginning of the book, the family's building their own little campground in the backyard, and the 2 sisters have created their own little shelter, this tent in their backyard. But then as you go through this illness, you have the younger sister. It's her perspective of being sad, missing your sister, being concerned, watching her go into the hospital. And then you get to the very end of the book where, no, everything isn't all better because that's not real life. But what does happen is they decide to build their shelter right there in her hospital room and treasure the fact that they're together. And remember that that's the most important thing, is for them to all be together. And I think that's a really sweet way to help a child deal with maybe a serious illness in the family or in their peripheral. Luna Loves Library Day is a great book, all about a little girl going to the library with her father. And what's neat about Luna Loves Library Day is Luna has 2 parents who are not together. So in the beginning, you see her mom getting her ready for library book day, and she's meeting her father there at the library. Mom drops her off and she's meeting her dad. And I think it's really sweet to show a sweet girl who is enjoying her time with her father and her mother, and that she's loved fully even when her parents aren't together. And I think that's a wonderful concept to help a child that maybe is in that situation. It's also fun that the book that they find in the library that she and her dad read comes as a little mini book inside. So you actually get to read the mini book inside the bigger book, which is just a super fun element. And then finally, for older kids, we have our Mindful Activity series, which I think is really good, Mindful Kids. These are 4 of the series. I don't have all of them, but this is a great series that's all about helping kids cope with different situations. So, for example, Be Brave is for kids that are struggling with fear and anxiety. Letting Go for kids that are struggling with grief, disappointment, and loss. We have Stay Strong for kids that are maybe being affected by bullying. And Be Positive for kids that are struggling maybe with their self-confidence, to help them build that confidence. So they're great books. They're activity books. So inside, there's fun things for them to do that are actually very therapeutic. I recently was sharing these with a child therapist, and she was so excited about these books to see them, because this is exactly the kind of exercises and things that they have kids do in therapy often when they're struggling with different issues. And here they come all together in a book that you can have in your home. So these are just a few of the things that I recommend that will help your kid deal with different situations they may be concerned with. But isn't it wonderful to be able to have books on your bookshelf that will help you talk with your kids about some of the difficult and hard things that come in life? Just a way to be a better parent. And isn't that what we want to do every single day? Thank you so much. If you have any questions about any of these books, please get in touch with me or your Usborne Books and More consultant.